I think that the way we treat anxiety is very surface level. While it is often a symptom of either a deeper identity level fear or an unprocessed emotion or possibly an inner conflict. By the way, all of these have roots in your belief systems. Oftentimes, we just try to deal with it with extremely shallow measures, like avoiding the issue, try to be positive, and worse yet, try to heal but not knowing exactly what it is that we're healing from. So, in today's video referencing my own journey to groundedness, I will try to help you to unravel the very root of your anxiety and show you how you can finally find inner peace. Let's get started. So months ago, I took a vacation in Tasmania, a very beautiful place, one of the most peaceful places I've ever been to. And during one of these solitude walks, I asked myself this very question. What am I ashamed of that myself and people are going to find out? And that night, I had one of the most honest, real conversation I've ever had with myself. And I found out that the narrative that I was playing was, I am a hard-working person who has bad luck, so he has never been able to succeed. That was false. And the truth was, I am a person who has so much pressure that I was afraid of success itself. Now, I'm still vulnerable a little bit by telling people this, but just let this be a case example for you. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is because this is one of the gateway to your root. It is called shame. Another gateway is called guilt. Now, I would like you to sit with your own notebook or maybe in your free time and give it your all to answer these highly vulnerable questions. Now, I know that it is extremely uncomfortable for you to do this, but I would like to quote you a quote by Carl Jung. Unless you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And I'm very serious about this. At the end of your life, you're going to look back at all of these and think, because I was a person who struggled mentally, I was not able to accomplish much. So now I shall die an ordinary person. No, you know what the truth is? The truth is, and I hate to be harsh, but you could have gotten to the root of your problem in this very video with me. But you did not. And one day you're going to pass not living your best life. By the way, all of the notes that I'm showing you here is the absolutely the truth. These are my personal notes. These are the exercises that I've been through myself on my journey to being calm. Now, I'm showing you all of this to demonstrate vulnerability, and that's literally all that I'm asking for from you. It is that you do the same for yourself. So, when you trace it to the root, most of them will take shape as first, identity level fear, second, unprocessed emotion, and third, inner conflict. And three of these things have the same property. It is that you can finally solve it by facing it head on. And that is exactly what you're going to do. Now, after you've been courageous, the anxiety might not go away immediately. And that is totally okay, because it doesn't just disappear like you imagined it would. Now, that is where you employ the techniques that I'm going to teach you in the next section. Now, the second insight is that if you can name it, then you can tame it. One of the most common reactions that I've seen people do is that they start trying to tell themselves this: I need to calm down. What if I tell you that there is a very simple shift in your inner dialogue that would make a world of a difference? You can do this by simply changing from calm yourself down to I feel anxious. And when you do this, you will tend to have less emotional reactivity, and it would be a lot faster to return to your baseline. Let me explain why that is the case. So what happens is that when we experience anxiety or overwhelming emotions, the amygdala, or the brain's fear center, it goes into overdrive. But when we consciously label the emotion we are feeling, I feel anxious, I feel overwhelmed, I feel like a failure, it activates the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking and self-control. So, in short, labeling emotions calms the limbic system and puts the rational brain back in charge. It helps create psychological distance between you and the overwhelming feeling. So, the next time that you catch yourself in a negative state, here is the step-by-step of what you should do. First, pause before reacting for 5 seconds, and I mean it, literally count 5 seconds in your head. Then, ask yourself this: what's really happening in me right now? Next, label your feeling with precision. Not bad, not weird, but I'm scared I'll fail. I'm feeling lonely. I'm anxious because I can't control the outcome. Remember, specificity is the key here. Then finally ask yourself, is this emotion a fact or just simply a signal? That will unlock your rational thinking. Now, the last step here is kind of optional, but I find it works for me quite often. I would usually keep a list of things that I need to tackle and set a fixed window during the day so that I can sit down and just think about it critically. Usually by then, you have already calmed yourself down, so you will be able to approach it with an objective set of eyes. Now, I have had friends who, to be frank, don't have that intense desire to be alive. And what I've had seen about them, and also my past self, my negative self, is one common mistake. We try to calm the mind through surface level fixes, such as breathing exercises or adopting a positive mindset, or try to distract ourselves with coping mechanisms. However, anxiety is not just mental noise. It is a signal from an internal identity that says, I am not safe, I am not capable, I can't handle uncertainty, I am not enough. All of the things that you have done in the first section. So the real solution isn't to quiet the noise, it's to become someone who doesn't really hear the noise the same way anymore. This means proving a new identity that contradicts the anxious self. So back when I was a student athlete, I used to get nervous every time I hit the basketball court. It got so bad to the point where I was training for 12 hours per day, but still underperformed. And I still remember it to this very day. The noise that I've heard was, I don't deserve success. I truly don't. This noise went on to haunt my entire high school basketball career. Listen, who knows where I would be if this noise didn't show up, or if this didn't continue on. But then one day, I just woke up and decided to be a simple person. A person who does his best no matter what the outcome gonna be. Now after that, I played extremely well, but that's not really the point. The point is, the noise was still there. The noise was still present within me, but the meaning changed. The magnitude changed when I decided to prove a polar opposite identity. So here's what you can do. First, listen to your inner voice and identify the anxious identity. Then choose the grounded identity that you want to become. I should note that this identity should be the exact opposite of who you were in your anxious self. Next, I want you to prove it in micro moments, meaning when your mind spirals, you don't really try to calm it down and you don't really try to seek peace. Instead, do something your grounded self would do. For example, speak slower, make one small decision without ruminating, hold your posture steady, and breathe like someone who is absolutely okay and in peace. And lastly, you need to remind yourself that this is not a moment to calm down. It is a moment to become someone new, a grounded person. Now, when you're anxious or overthinking, the temptation is to fix the problem emotionally. You will start asking questions like this: why am I like this? Why am I so emotional all the time? Maybe if I can journal more, maybe if I can cry it out or meditate, I'll finally heal. However, let me prove this point of why I believe ritual is better than healing. Let me ask you this simple question. When do you think you have fully healed? When you have become a grounded person, right? So it is the exact destination as the identity method, but rather a more passive approach, a more waiting approach. So rather than sitting in the driver's seat and prove it to yourself, you're just simply waiting for the waves to push you to the destination. Now, don't get me wrong, and I don't mean anything against anyone. I'm not against healing. But if anxiety is giving you a really hard time, wouldn't you rather it go away as quickly as possible? So here are the 3 simple steps to design a ritual to rewire your identity. First, ask yourself, what would be a small action that would prove to me that I am my grounded self? For me, it is as simple as just to sit still and stare into nothing and breathing extremely slowly. Maybe if I ever talk to myself, I will do it in a very low register. Next, tie it to an identity, not outcome. It is not about whether or not you have calmed down. It is more about becoming someone who lives anchored. Last, repeat it daily, no matter how you feel. Because the rule is ritual before readiness and action before belief. So one of my most valued principles is to see other people for their character, not for their image. When you're anxious or overthinking, your internal dialogue sounds something like this: I feel like I'm not making progress. I feel like I'll mess this up again. But I think judging yourself for your feeling is like seeing other people for the image. You concentrate too much on what it looks like and what it feels like on the outside. Now, feelings might be true, but it's never absolute. You know what really is true? All the actions that you have committed that prove to you who you're becoming. The reason why I told you to prove your identity is because these hard proof is what going to protect you from yourself and your demons. Now, the reason why this works is based on cognitive dissonance theory by Leon Festinger. In 1957, Leon found that when your self-perception, meaning I'm failing, clashes with your actual behavior, I took meaningful action today, it creates some sort of an internal tension, or the so-called dissonance. What happens next is the process of resolution mechanism. Your brain tries to reduce that tension by updating your beliefs to align with your actions. So when you reflect on actions that contradict anxious self-beliefs, your brain is forced to revise your own beliefs. Now, I would like to take a page out of David Goggins' book and show you a concept that is called the cookie jar. By the way, whether or not you have an actual cookie jar is up to you. But in this jar, I want you to store all of the proof that you are the person who you want to be. Keep all of these moments in stored. Moments that you handle better than you did before. Actions you have done that reflected your ideal identity. And the fear you faced even just for a little bit. Now, David uses this more for motivation, but we will use this as our anti-negativity medicine. Every time you feel like your issues start coming back to you, this is what going to be your shield to win that mental battle. So these are the insights that I've in store for you. If you think these material makes sense, I teach the exact same stuff inside my coaching program, Still Mind Method. Only with a little bit more abundance amount of resources and worksheets. And if you're interested, the link is down below. I'll see you in the next video.